They just really behave differently with you versus other people. And once you behave differently based on a race, you're being racist. If you believe that black people do not have the same knowledge as you and you don't treat everyone as an individual, then you're being a racist. When I'm experiencing racism, I tend to just try to think about the positive and say, no, this is just coincidence, or oh no, they don't mean that. And I just keep trying to give them some type of excuse. Just looking at me from the beginning, it was my face and just seeing my hair, and I saw her looking above my eyes, so I could see that she was looking in my hair. And I wear my natural hair every single time. Even family members like say to me like, oh, wear makeup, oh, wear this, oh, put in extensions, because that's what makes your life easy. It's very easy to blend in. It's very easy to blend in anywhere that you go. I'm just not for it. Like, I want to be my own person, and I'm not going to do anything just to fit in with other people. And yeah, I know that that makes my life way harder, but I'm willing to do it because at the end of the day, it's way worth it. Hello, welcome back to another video. So today I will be talking about racism. Why is this a difficult topic to talk about? But I'm going to be talking about it today. So the question is, do I experience racism? That is like the biggest question. Do you experience racism in Canada? And the short answer is yes, I do experience racism in Canada. And the main thing is that sometimes I feel as if it's very easy to fit in. If you come to Canada and you wear wigs and try to keep your hair straight and you're always doing these long braids and all those things, I feel as if it's way easier to fit in when you have braids and you always wearing your makeup and things like that. But people like me who do not try to fit in, and I'm always trying to be me and not be other people, I feel as if it's a lot harder for me. I don't know. It's just a feeling that I have. Maybe people who wear makeup and do all these things still feel as if they are still outstanding. But in my mind, I think that just having my natural hair alone just make things a lot more difficult for me. But that's just my personal thought on things. You can let me know if you feel more confident, and if you experience less negativity because you have straight hair or because you wear makeup. But for me, personally, I feel as if wearing my natural hair makes things very, very difficult. So hi there, welcome back to my channel. On this channel, I talk about life in Canada, studying in Canada, and personal development. So if you're new here, I've probably been in Canada for almost 4 years now. So my take on things is a lot more detailed. And being in Canada for almost 4 years definitely changes what you would think versus being in Canada for like a couple of months, or just being here as a visitor. You don't really experience the things that I've experienced, because I know that there are many sayings where persons talk about how Canadians are nice and things like that, but those sayings are really from persons who have just been in Canada for just 6 months only, but they have never been in Canada for very long. So because they haven't been in Canada for very long, they have a different take on things compared to persons who have been in Canada for a very long time. And also, if persons have been in Canada and they do not directly deal with Canadians regularly, for example, they have never lived with a Canadian, they have never worked with a Canadian, their take will be very different from mine. Because one of the main things with my experience is that I've been in Canada and I've lived with a Canadian before, and I've worked with Canadians all the time, because there are some jobs that you can get where you don't necessarily work with Canadians, because there are some jobs where the dominant people who are there are not Canadians. So because of that, it really depends on where you work, where you're living, and things like that. Here in PEI, there isn't a huge diversity. So when I first came to Canada, black people was way less when I first came here. Like you didn't have a lot of black persons. Like I remember this one girl that was on the bus that was black, and like most of my classes, I'm probably one of two or one of three people in the entire class that is a black person, and majority is always the Canadians that are in classes. One of the biggest experiences when it came to racism, it was really in classes where people just believe that black people don't really have the knowledge that they have, which is absolutely ridiculous. And one of the biggest things is that when it comes to Canadians, you can really see that they are very uneducated about other people. And one thing that I know is that in the US, yeah, I'm kind of just comparing like with the US. With the US, people really are curious about other cultures. They want to learn about other cultures. But when it comes to Canadians, Canadians are very, very sheltered. They basically just be by themselves and they don't really want to learn about your culture, like where you're from or like why you come to Canada. But of course, when you talk in general for many people, yes, sometimes it can be that when you're talking, yes, there is always a small amount of people who are the complete opposite, where there are people who are curious about your culture and things like that. But what I've experienced is that that is not many people. Like most people are not curious about your culture. So when I talk, I'm talking about the majority, not the minority. And that's kind of one of the things as well, like just the fact that in Canada, people kind of just place you in a box. They try to place you in a category. So you are the group that comes to Canada and will be here temporary. Oh, you are the group that is black people. You are the group that is Asian people. You are the group that is black African. Like there is a lot of separation here, but a lot of it is that many Canadians are not educated about other people and they feel as if people who are black is different from them, which is absolutely ridiculous. Because one of the biggest things that someone has asked me before is, how do I deal with different cultures in Canada? And the truth is, I just deal with everyone as if they are another human being. And that's not the experience that I've had from Canadians. When it came to Canadians, the behavior is different. It's like you are a visitor here, and that is something that is difficult because let's say, for example, someone is here as a black person and they are a Canadian in Canada, which is many people are here, they're black, but they are a Canadian. And people like them just being treated as though, oh, you're just a visitor here. It's just weird as to how they are treated. Like for me, even though coming here and knowing that I'm going to be doing a 4-year program and just knowing that I'll be here for years, it feels as if I live here, because 3 years is a long time to be living in another country. And just the fact that I am treated as, oh, you're a visitor, though there's no way you can consider me a visitor when I'm here for many years. A visitor is someone who travels to a country for less than 6 months. I'm here way longer than 6 months. So it feels different and it's weird even when I'm treated as though I'm a visitor. That's like one of the things there. And one of the biggest things is like when students, like Canadian students, treat you as if you do not have the knowledge that they have. And it seems as if they think, I don't even know where they get this in their head to think that black people do not have the same knowledge as they do. One of the things about Canadian students is that every international student do not have English as their first language. They believe that all students' first language is not English, and that's like one of the first impressions that they got, because there are many students here, like persons from China, who their first language is not English, but there are also many countries that speaks English, and they do not take the time out to learn about different cultures. Like, even though there's a huge diversity in Canada, I feel as if there's also a huge separation, and that separation causes many people to not know about the different cultures. Language is just like the basic thing that you should know, and it's just weird that they treat other people. I'm talking about black people, but it's actually like all international students. I remember one of the first student experience that I had was when someone believed that a black person should not be the leader of a group. That was like one of the first experiences that I have, and they just caused a lot of trouble, and it was very obvious that they were being racist. And one of the things about Canada is that persons who are racist, they don't actually directly say, oh, get lost, you're a black person. Like, instead they call it microaggressions, where they just really behave differently with you versus other people. And once you behave differently based on a race, you're being racist. If you believe that black people do not have the same knowledge as you, and you don't treat everyone as an individual, then you're being a racist. Another racist encounter that I've had is with getting a job. I remember a job where I went into the interview. First of all, it was 2 interviews. I did the first one with a male Canadian, and he was ready to give me the job after the interview. He was very engaging to the interview, and in my head I was like, yeah, I got the job. And then when it came to doing the second interview, when that was just to confirm things, that once you get a second interview, that's like a confirmation you're going to get the job. Boy, when I went to that interview, the lady literally just looked at me from head to toe, and then that was it. I could feel it, but I had to stay confident and say, no, this is probably in my head. And so many times when I'm experiencing racism, I tend to just try to think about the positive and say, no, this is just coincidence, or, oh no, they don't mean that. And I just keep trying to give them some type of excuse. But when you think about it, you could directly see that it's 100% racism. When I even think about it afterwards, I'm telling you, she took one good look at me at the entrance at that door, and I saw the difference in her face. And throughout that entire interview, I was there pouring my heart out, answering the questions, and I could see that she wasn't listening at all. The entire interview, that woman was not listening to me. She already made up her mind that she's not giving me the job. I don't want this person working in my organization. And that's like, actually, when I first came to Canada, I came here in January, and literally that February I got that interview where I thought I was getting the job, and this woman just fully stereotyped me, did her thing with her first impression, and she was like, no, I don't want this person in my organization. And you could just look at her and see that she's very high maintenance. She had on makeup. You could see that she's not even an average Canadian, because average Canadian here doesn't even wear jewelry. She had jewelry head to toe. Like, she even had on an ankle bracelet. Yeah, I'm very observant as well. So I saw the things that she was wearing, and I saw a huge rock on her finger and things like that. And she had on her necklace, like probably 3 necklaces was around her neck. She had in her ears ring. She had it all. Like, she looks like those high maintenance women. From the very beginning, you could see that she fully stereotyped me, and she was like, no, I'm not letting you in my organization. And I feel as if one of the biggest parts that she was turned off about was my hair. Just looking at me from the beginning, it was my face and just seeing my hair, and I saw her looking above my eyes, so I could see that she was looking in my hair. And I wear my natural hair every single time. And one of the biggest things about being in a country where there isn't, being in a province, I'm going to say one of the biggest things being in a province, because There are provinces that are very diverse and are very knowledgeable about black people, but there are many that have never seen a black person's natural hair before, because most black people who lives in PEI, they always have straight hair, and they just always try to blend in with everybody else and try to fit in, and I'm just not for it. Like, I want to be my own person, and I'm not going to do anything just to fit in with other people. And yeah, I know that that makes my life way harder, but I'm willing to do it because at the end of the day, it's way worth it. I'm not successful because I followed other people and I worked myself up by wearing makeup because that's what everybody wants me to do. I'm just not that person, and I'm never going to be that person. And many people, like even family members, like say to me like, oh, wear makeup, oh, wear this, oh, put in extensions, because that's what makes your life easy. It's very easy to blend in. It's very easy to blend in anywhere that you go. It's very hard to be someone who stands out. And I'm telling you that that woman did not listen to any part of that interview, and easily, like, that is actually something that is illegal. Like, you can't discriminate against a person, but either way, like, what's going to be my proof that I was going to get the job? What was going to be the proof that I have that, oh, this person discriminated me? My proof is that she looked at me a certain way and it was very obvious she wasn't listening during the interview. She basically just went through the interview because she had to. It was very, very obvious. Like, she was like, yep, yep. And you could see that she wasn't listening. And even during it crossed my mind multiple times. Like, I'm not getting this job and she's not listening. It crossed my mind multiple times. And I'm like, no, it's just in my head. It's just in my head. Focus, listen to the question, answer the question. And I was killing that interview. And of course, I didn't get the job. And I wasn't surprised that I didn't get it. I could see just from the initial that I wasn't going to get it. And there are so many different times when I was stereotyped, and the biggest one was always when it came to me being an international student and them thinking that you are not as educated as them. And that was the biggest, like, many of these happened throughout my university experience in Canada, and then afterwards, and then outside of students being racist, then it was in jobs that it happened. I remember one of the things that really, really annoys me with Canadians, and this happened in the workplace and on the street in general, where Canadians sometimes they just don't want to say hi, and they don't know how to avoid not saying hi. And I'm like, just walk, that's it, just walk, just go. But they instead feel as if they need to make an effort to avoid you. So one of the biggest things that many of them do is that when they're passing, they hold down their head like this and walk past you like that. And I find that as the most disrespectful thing you could ever do. Like, just walk across from me. Just do that. That is way better than you holding down your head. Like, that feels like the absolute most disrespectful thing that a person could ever do. Like, if you are Canadian and you're listening to this and you walk across someone and hold down your head and think that it's not obvious that you're doing it, it's very obvious when someone randomly holds down their head to pass you. Like, it's not normal for someone to hold down their head and walk. That's not normal. Therefore, you must be avoiding something. And I'm telling you that this is, I could say, this is the most disrespectful thing that I've ever experienced. And I've experienced it so many times. The other one that people would do is like just pretend they're on their phones. And that one is fine. Like, pretend you're on your phone. Like, that's fine. But just randomly holding down your head and passing me, And that's just my experience. Like, I've heard so many different experiences with many other people. I don't go around asking people, like, do they experience racism? I should actually ask, but that's something that really affects me in here. Even though after a while I'll ignore it and be it's whatever and I'll get over it over time. In the moment, I always feel bad about being treated differently because of the color of my skin. The color of your skin is something that you don't have a choice on. If you judge someone because of them wearing a glasses to look different on camera, or if you're judging someone based on the clothes that they wear, it's like, okay, that makes sense. Like, you're judging them based on their clothes. Okay, that makes sense, right? Like, that's your clothes. You choose to wear the clothes that you wear. But when it comes to the color of your skin, you have absolutely no control over how you look. And the thing is, like, there are so many different races and so many different people look very, very different. And it's like, why do you think that because someone looks different, that means that they are different? How on earth are they different? And why don't you make the effort to know if they are different instead of trying to avoid them or trying to being disrespectful or whatever? There are people, are like students, who would talk to me about how they have experienced racism, and honestly, I have never like asked anyone about their experiences. Like, I still don't feel comfortable talking about it. I just, it's just annoying. And yeah, I've heard many stories about how people have experienced racism while they've been in Canada and while they've been living here. Know that racism is something that is here and it's going to feel some type of way. Like, you're not going to feel okay with it. After a while, you'll get over it, but in the moment and like afterwards, probably a couple hours after, you may feel some type of way, but afterwards you get over it. And one of the biggest things is to just know yourself and know who you are and know that you are not less than. Don't give in to anything that they say. And in the moment, you might feel that you're doing something wrong and you're making the wrong choices, but over time you will get over it. Some people don't. Some people actually change their behavior, they change who they are to fit in and make their life easier. But just know that you can still be successful. It's just going to be a bit harder for you to be successful if you do not give in, because I'm telling you that my life is way more difficult because, one, being a black person, two, living into a country that that is living into a province. Maybe it's even just the province, I don't know, maybe it's the province or it's just the country, who knows. But living in, yeah, living in a country where you are considered the minority, living and wearing your natural hair will make your life more difficult. Not wear makeup will make your life more difficult. Yeah, but just know that that's there, and you still can be successful. No matter what, you can be successful. It's just, it won't be as easy for you. And even if you fit in, it could still be that it's not as easy for you because you struggle with knowing who you are as a person, nevertheless. And even if your success is, oh, you have the right finances, maybe you are still struggling with self, struggling with who you are. And one of the things that I've learned is that success is not just about, oh, how much money is in your bank account. Success is about everything. It's about personally how you are as a person. It is about your life. It's about your emotional well-being, your mental well-being. It's about, it's even more important for your mental to be on point than it is for your finances to be on point, to be honest. If your mental isn't there, you're still uncomfortable, you're miserable in your job, you don't want to wear any makeup, but you have to wear it because that's how you got the job and you have to maintain it. And it's just a cycle of just wondering who you are as a person. So yeah, that's my little spiel about racism. I hope you found it helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next